Is the federal government speaking from both sides of the mouth, or is there a disalignment in the ranks of the Buhari-led federal administration? In the last 2 weeks, there have been two contradictory positions expressed by senior officers of the federal government on the same issue. First, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, while addressing journalists in Lagos, said that the federal government has accepted that there is an urgent need for restructuring and not separation of the country. He said this position was one of many implementable decisions reached at the National Security Summit, which held in April in Kaduna State. The other decisions reached at the dialogue and which the federal government has committed itself to implementing include the unbundling of the judiciary to make it less unitary, and ensuring that Nigeria is a society governed by laws and every Nigerian must obey and remain equal before the law, including the lawgiver. Lai Mohammed also said that by the Kaduna decisions, the federal government is favorably disposed to the establishment of state police. Lai Mohammed's statement kindled a fresh enthusiasm and expectation that the Buhari-led federal government seems to have realized that its credibility and the support it can enjoy from the citizens issue from its being faithful to and redeeming its election promises. However, the Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, speaking to a television channel last week, challenged those clamoring for restructuring to begin with their own states. A clear indication that the minister was not in agreement with the Kaduna resolutions, or Lai Mohammed was not speaking the mind of the federal government. Before Lai Mohammed kindled this fresh hope of sorting out Nigeria's structural challenges, many notable Nigerians had canvassed different positions, but all of them pointed to the need to restructure the country to address issues of equity, justice, and ensure a sense of collective ownership of the country.
First of all, we need to restructure this country and make it possible for people to protect their lands.
Of course, I've always been for restructuring Nigeria. I think basically those who benefit from the system as it is today would like to leave it. And so when you mention that there needs to be a change, there needs to be a modification, there needs to be a new way of doing things and new systems in place, yes, they will feel that, oh, you want to break up the country.
Dual kill or restructuring. Let's create a new country. Let's revisit the fundamentals. Let's make Nigeria a proper, functional, productive country where every section of Nigeria will contribute to its progress and we all live in prosperity and happiness.
Reacting to the hope kindled by the Information Minister Lai Mohammed that in addition to redeeming its election promises, the federal government seems to be taking cognizance of the positions canvassed by many well-meaning Nigerians, many prominent citizens have weighed in, suggesting how to go about the restructuring if the federal government is sincere with its promise.
We shouldn't dismiss what Minister Lai Mohammed said, no matter how little credibility we tend to attach these days to what the federal government spokespeople say. We would hope that they are not just talking. However, there's a catch. It's not enough to take the word of the Minister of Information. Nigerians need to see evidence that what he's saying actually represents a genuine and sincere commitment to commence a process that needs to happen now, that must be meaningful, that must touch the core of what restructuring is, and that is not targeted at pushing back a problem so that future generations of Nigerians will inherit it.
I think Lai Mohammed's interview on two flanks. On one flank, I'm tempted to read the conclusion that it might sound like a political talk. But on the other flank, I think it could also be somebody who is coming from the bottom heart of the need to make things different in this country. Now, if I say he is talking politically, I can also be very correct. Why do I say so? I say so because we know the information minister. We know that over time the APC, from their manifesto, talked about restructuring of Nigeria. They also have the Erofai report that also dwell extensively on that report and which came up with their recommendations on how they're going to restructure Nigeria. It's in the open and everybody should say that. Now, over the years, this political party has not kept to its word. They have not stuck to their manifesto. That means they are not true to what they say. And so in that regard, we need to mistrust them.
Buhari, many of the spokesmen sometimes will tell you, you are talking of restructuring. Restructuring means many things to many people. When Sheudown asked Malami if it means many things to many people, but it's in your manifesto. What do you mean by restructuring? Then he went to that basis. Now, take it from there. It is in the Buhari, who has clamoring to be the head of this government, has been talking about restructuring since 2007. When I felt very, including myself, Baba Adesoya, campaigned for him in Adamasiba. He's talking of restructuring when Pastor Bakari was his running mate. And of late, Dr. Bakari had to challenge him. That what you say you don't mean by restructuring? Is it not one of the things you agree with me? Did I not bring you papers and all that? You will also remember the very APC itself set up a Rufai committee recommending restructuring. Restructuring doesn't mean anything. Go back to federalism. And when they want to confuse the people, the government of the seat, and they have an expert in line Mohammed. So he will come and put it together and confuse people. That is the government we are having. They have no clue.
Two issues, however, seem to be the baggage which the federal government's expressed intention to now restructure Nigeria carries. The first is that of sincerity, which is being made doubtful by the position of the Minister of Justice, which contradicts that of the Minister of Information. The baggage of sincerity is made even heavier when it is realized that the APC canvassed the same restructuring in the course of the 2015 general election. Nigerians who wanted a working nation voted overwhelmingly for the party, and they won the election. Now the 2023 election has become a major national political issue, and restructuring has again become a prime promise of the APC government. The question is whether this return to the promise to restructure is a stunt to gain political advantage and win the election in 2023. The second baggage is whether the Constitution itself is not a stumbling block to restructuring. Can Nigeria be restructured within the provisions and operation of the 1999 Constitution as amended? For those saddling the National Assembly with the responsibility of amending the Constitution to effect restructuring, can such a National Assembly process be trusted to produce the desired result, since previous attempts came to naught? And indeed, can the National Assembly accept to go along with a process which could end up whittling down its powers, reducing its numbers, or even scrapping the bicameral legislature?
Let me take this opportunity to tell people. The complaint we are having now is that this constitution is not our own. We don't make it. I have asserted that, I have not disputed it. All the complaint that is arising as a result of this constitution is a product of the constitution imposed on us in 1966 by the military Muslims. They have not disputed that. And they now ask us to go amend the constitution through a parliament which is a product of the fraud.
Addressing these baggages with all sincerity may be as important as ensuring that Lai Mohammed's stated position represents a new federal government thinking and disposition towards creating a Nigerian nation of one nation, one destiny, in justice and equity.